Hello beautiful people, welcome to the channel. Reverend Debbie here, hope you're doing well. Today's video, my views on the elite and the top percentile of earners and billionaires. And I'm sure I'm going to get flack for this one. Now, on my video for why I think Donald Trump won the election, I have been having a debate with a man who claims he is in the top percentile of workers in the US. And his health insurance is paid for by his company. Now, I've done some homework here. Only 53% of workers in the US have their health insurance paid for by their company. So the other 47% don't get health insurance. So how do they become healthy? How do they fix their illnesses if they get a really serious illness that may end their life? They sell their houses. They sell all their assets in order to pay for that bill, and they become homeless. So, you know, great for this guy that he has this insurance paid for by his company. And I lived in South Africa from 1982 to 2006. The company that I worked for over there paid my health insurance as well. When I no longer had that job, I had to pay my own health insurance, but I couldn't afford to, so I didn't get healthcare. And that's what's happening. Here in the UK, we have the NHS, National Health Service, that is free at the point of access for all users. And I actually think that is a really brilliant thing, because a sick person, a person who is ill, is more of a burden on society than your taxes paying for healthcare for those who can't afford it. Now, this man on his 401k level of top percentile earners begrudges paying extra tax so that these people can get free healthcare. Just think about that for a minute. Think about that. He's in the top percentile of workers. He gets his health insurance paid for by his company. And then he went on to say that everybody should get skills and work in the same sort of company that he works for. Okay. Not everybody has the education that you have. Not everybody managed to go to a private school or to university. A lot of people didn't even get to finish school. Probably because they had to go and work because their parents couldn't earn enough to help them live. So many stories like that, scenarios that I'm sure a lot of you can, relate to. And if you've got some stories like that, pop them into the comment section below. So this man begrudges paying extra tax because he doesn't think he should pay for healthcare of sick people who don't have access or money to pay for that healthcare. Now, in America, the Affordable Care Act, which was previously known as the Obamacare Act, was put in place for those people who need it. And last week, we saw in the news that Luigi Mangione, he unalived the CEO of a prominent healthcare insurance company in the States. Apparently because he needed treatment and he was denied it, something along those lines, not 100% sure. But either way, he didn't get the treatment that he needed. The insurance company refused to pay it. And so he went and did this act. Now, I do not condone this kind of behavior. But the McDonald's worker who grassed him up, shame on you. Now, apparently, this man could have helped Luigi because he was the CEO. But the majority of the money, the claims that they deny in America for the smallest of reasons, is so that the shareholders get their billions at the end of the year. That's what they do. And Brian, the CEO of this company, could have done that. He could have done that. Apparently there's a lot of AI that happens within the who gets what and what have you. I don't know the full details, but, the CEO needs to fix the problem. Then I said to this man, right, okay, you want everybody to work in the 410k environment that you work in, the top percentile of workers, but who's going to pick the crops? Who's going to work in factories? Who is going to deliver your mail? Who is going to, fill the shelves in the shops for you? Who's going to work in the Amazon warehouses? Because Trump wants to deport over 1 million what he calls illegals. I call them people who want a better life. This man went on to say that Trump is going to entice people back to villages and towns to work. How? What is he going to do? What is he going to do? And don't start me off on tariffs. I don't do tariffs. I don't talk about that lot. I've got some political channels that I'll link in the description box below that you can go and watch, and they'll tell you all about tariffs and how, unfortunately, American people are going to be bearing the brunt of those costs. Now, here in the UK, 100 years ago, okay, we're talking 100 years ago, people left villages to work in towns and cities because there was nothing left for them in villages or on the farm. So all these people who now live in towns and cities, who have a support system, who have a life, who have a home, are going to be enticed. Give that word a meaning, whatever meaning you want to give it, back to a place that they may not want to go to. Why should they be forced to? Now, here in the UK, way back when as well, companies such as mining companies and different sort of factories would build homes for workers to live close to where they worked. So, for example, I live in the old pit boss's house, and the pit head was just across the road. It's gone now. I have a mine shaft in my back garden. Very interesting. But so they were given a home to live in, and it was a very cheap rent as well that they paid. And, so these houses were built specifically for that. Is that going to happen in the States? I don't know. I guess I'd need to find out more about that. But, nowadays children go to school. They don't work down pit or up chimney. They go to school. Not all children are created equally. Not all children have access to good education, to a good home life. People have different levels of IQ. And so there's a need for people to do these other types of jobs. But this man begrudges paying a small percentage of his salary in tax to his government so that people can get the healthcare that they need. It's greed. Sheer, pure, utter greed. Now, there was a story that I heard this morning, thank you, Graham, of a man who was this is in the States, knocked over by an ambulance and then was taken to hospital. When he received his bill at the end of his stay in hospital, he'd been charged $18,000 for the ambulance ride, and it was the ambulance that had knocked him over. Maslow's hierarchy shows that each person's basic needs to breathe, food, water, shelter, clothing, and sleep. And then we go on to the next level of Maslow's hierarchy, which includes health, employment, security, property, family, and social activity. People are being denied these basic needs due to people like Elon Musk, who $432 billion when I checked last night. If he took 1 billion of his ridiculous amount of wealth and gave it to the world, we could solve poverty. 1 billion. That's all we need, 1 billion. And he has 432 billion. So let's let him only have 431 billion. And let's make sure that people have what they need to live. Why are the rich so greedy? Why do they think that they deserve more than everybody else? It's not through work. It's definitely not through work. Elon Musk was born in South Africa. He grew up in an environment that was during the apartheid era. He's from a rich white background. I lived in South Africa. I know what happens. I know what happened. And he rode the wealth on the back of the apartheid era. But coming back to Mr. 401k. Should his taxes pay for some people who don't have health care, who don't even have a home, who get knocked over by an ambulance and they get charged by that ambulance for riding in that ambulance to the hospital? So, Mr. 401k, what will you do if you lose your job? Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please click the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. Feel free to leave some comments below. Hope to see you next time. Blessed be.